Hello everybody, welcome to this week's edition of Transfermarkt TV International. The big topic of the week, of course, is our very own market value update for the Premier League. But we start the show, as always, with the category Players to Watch. Liverpool's streak of 44 unbeaten games in the Premier League ended last week in a 0-3 defeat at Watford. This week, the Reds once again shine with a new milestone that no other Premier League team has reached so far. A come from behind 2-1 against Bournemouth sealed the 22nd consecutive home win at Anfield Road for Jurgen Klopp's side. Thereby, the German coach outbested legendary Bob Paisley, who achieved the former record mark in England that stood at 21 home games in England's top tier. A proud Jurgen Klopp was more pleased with the win in general.
We will not get carried away. Look, it's just there's nothing good in losing football games, but it makes you aware of how special it is to win football games, and that's what we had in the last what was it, 10 days or 2 weeks when you lost the games, and so you appreciate it much more. So imagine we would have won against Watford, would have won in the FA Cup, would have won against Atletico, and in the end to become champion whenever it will happen, and everybody would have said, yeah, champion. Eh? So if it will happen, it will feel really special, if it will happen. But today was obviously very important to make it happen. So that's how it is, nothing else. And now we have 4 days time to prepare for another very difficult game in a wonderful stadium with a sensational crowd. That was, I think, the best 12:30 performance of our crowd since I'm here. I loved it. And so let's make sure that we are ready for that. No secrets, hardest work. That's what I love about the boys, that they really were ready to work really hard today and played football, not only play football. I liked a lot how we really were in the challenges and stuff like this. Press balls were on our side, all these little things that makes it really important. We said it a lot of times. We want to be as successful as it possible for us. And nobody knows exactly that will end, but it's not always, for us especially, not always possible to play our best football, but to give everybody a proper fight should be always possible, and that's what the boys did very often. Would I do it now? No, but in this moment I just don't understand how this could be a goal. So there are situations, we talk about it, stuff like this, but now we have to make a decision. So this shows the problem of VAR still existing. It's not a VAR, it's not a system, it's a human being. And the rules. So I think, I'm not sure that anybody think in a room it was not a foul. Just I can stop talking actually. So good, it was a foul. Wow. The touch was enough to let Joe struggle. It's a foul, nothing else. They score a goal in the next situation, the ref lets it run, that's why we have VAR, so he can have a little bit later look.
During Liverpool's 2-1 victory against Bournemouth, their main offensive player set a new personal record. Egyptian striker Mo Salah scored the equalizer last Saturday, his 70th goal in a 100th Premier League match for the Reds. The 27-year-old now stands as the sole leader in this century game span, besting former Spanish marksman Fernando Torres, who had 63 in 100 for Liverpool. Salah's 70th goal also meant that he surpassed former leader Luis Suarez as Liverpool's top Premier League goalscorer, who had 69 goals in the 1992 invented first-tier competition. By the way, only one player had more goals in the first 100 Premier League matches. Legendary Alan Shearer scored 79. In the German Bundesliga, it was Kai Havertz making the news. The Leverkusen midfield jewel scored the opener in a 4-0 victory against Frankfurt last weekend, thereby the second most valuable Bundesliga player at the moment, standing at 90 million euros, became the youngest Bundesliga player of all time to score 30 goals in Germany's top tier at the age of just 20 years and 270 days. And now, as promised, we take a look at Transfermarkt's specialty, the new market value update for the Premier League. And as always, there are winners, like on the right side, Mason Greenwood from Manchester United, and losers, like on the left side, Chelsea's once promising goalkeeper Kepa. In total, there are 67 new values for players in the Premier League, and we start with a top 11 of players that increased their market value the most by position. In goal, AFC Bournemouth's Aaron Ramsdale. Even though playing for a team threatened by relegation, Ramsdale is a strong backing for the defense. The just 21-year-old has started in all but one Premier League matches for the Cherries. 1.5 goals against might seem a high value per game against him, but without the English under-21 international between the posts, this average would be considerably higher. His value goes up 4 million to 14 million euros. As centre-backs, we have Mason Holgate from Everton, who took over the starting spot at Goodison Park from former three-line defender Michael Keane. The 23-year-old is said to be a candidate for Manchester City transfer in summer. Joe Gomez is the other big achiever at centre-back position. The 23-year-old Liverpool and England defender gained an outstanding 34 million euros in value since October 2017. Back then he was evaluated at 8 million euros, increasing his value to 35 at the end of 2018. Now, after becoming a Champions League and very well soon a Premier League winner as a Liverpool regular, Joe Gomez surpasses the 40 million euro mark, now standing at 42 million euros in market value. The fullbacks in our team belong to two exciting youngsters. On the left, Arsenal breeds Bukayo Saka, the 18-year-old under-19 international, is a regular for the Gunners and supposedly on the radar of international heavyweights like Bayern Munich. Saka improves 9 million euros to 22 million euros. On the right, Chelsea's 20-year-old Reece James, who rises to 25 million euros, an increase of 66%. Well deserved for the right back, who gets valuable minutes in Frank Lampard's young squad, playing in 17 Premier League and 5 Champions League matches this season. We move on to midfield. In our 4-4-2 formation, we'll start with two impact players in the center. First, Jack Grealish, who has an outstanding campaign for Aston Villa with 17 goal participations in 30 competitive matches all season. Many experts want Gareth Southgate's national team squad with Grealish. Manchester United has him as priority player on their shopping list. The price will be high though. Grealish is Villa bound until 2023 and his market value now stands at 38 million euros. On the right, another key player for promoted Premier League team, Sheffield United, who stands at a strong 7th position in the league table. They rely strongly on good performances of 26-year-old John Lundstram. He never really blossomed in his youth with Everton before signing with the Blades in 2017 after a 2-year stint with Oxford. His value goes up to 10 million euros. The left wing is covered by Norwich's Todd Cantwell. As to the Athletic, Liverpool are intensifying their interest in signing the 21-year-old winger, who has impressed during his debut season in the Premier League with 6 goals and 2 assists in 29 league games. The left and offensive midfielder Cantwell is contract bound with the Canaries until June 22 and now sees his market value increase from 15 to 22 million euros. On the right wing, we have Arsenal's new Brazilian jewel, Gabriel Martinelli. At just 18 years of age, the central striker, who can also play as a winger, is one of the few positive aspects so far in the Gunners' 1920 campaign. Coming into London from Brazil's 4th division, Martinelli quickly adapted to Premier League football, mainly because of his great work attitude and will to improve. After 10 goals and 4 assists in 26 competitive games, he has gone from 5 to 28 million euros in one season for Arsenal. His contract at Emirates Stadium runs into June 2024. Our central strikers conclude this formation. First, Mason Greenwood, who plays an outstanding season for Manchester United. A 60% increase in value for the 18-year-old talent, who might very well follow in the footsteps of transferred Romelu Lukaku or injured Marcus Rashford. Greenwood stands at 5 goals in Premier League and 4 goals in Europa League action. The England under-21 international now sees his market value at 32 million euros. Even 18 million euros more, 50 million euros, it is for Wolverhampton's personified Mexican scoring threat, Raúl Jiménez. The 28-year-old has participated in 32 goals, scoring 22 in 43 competitive games for the Wolves so far. Jiménez came into Wolverhampton last summer on a 38 million euro transfer fee, with many doubting the qualities of the former Benfica striker. Not anymore, thanks to Raúl Jiménez's scoring abilities. That's our top 11 with players rising the most in market value by position. This squad went up by 84 million euros to an equal 300 million euros in market value. As I said at the start of the segment, there are winners and losers in this market value update. Two prominent names gaining in market value are from Wolverhampton, as we already saw. Raul Jimenez, another strong wolf, is right winger Adama Traoré, who shows another very steady season, with the Wanderers gaining 4 million euros to a new career high of 32 million euros. Everton's 22-year-old Brazilian Richarlison, he has an outstanding 10 goals and 3 assists in 27 league matches with a mediocre team this season. Worthy enough to evaluate him at now 65 million euros. His teammate Dominic Calvert-Lewin has even more goals, 13 to his side. Profiting from Richarlison's play and vice versa, the 22-year-old former English under-20 international World Cup champion increased his value from 22 to 30 million euros. There are even more prominent names in our downgrade section of this market value updates, and we'll take a closer look at two former very promising goalkeepers. Manchester United and Spain's number 1, David De Gea, in September extended his contract with the Red Devils until 2023, becoming the highest paid player in England. His performances in goal, though, didn't quite follow the high paychecks, with some unknown instability occurring during the season. De Gea goes down from 60 to 50 million euros. Even worse, a drop of 20 million euros in market value it is for De Gea's fellow Spanish goalkeeper Kepa. The formerly most expensive goalkeeper in the world, now at age 25, has found himself struggling a lot during the season, lately even losing the starting job at Chelsea to veteran Willy Caballero. Kepa falls from 60 to 40 million euros. Other big names with downgrades: Arsenal's French striker Alexandre Lacazette has a decent, but compared to fellow striker Aubameyang, not a great season with the Gunners. 7 goals and 3 assists in England's top tier cannot withhold the 70 million euro in value from last year. He drops to 60 million euros. Tottenham's Dele Alli had an extraordinary season in 18-19, being a vital part in leading the Spurs to the Champions League final. With his team not quite performing on the same level in this campaign, so is Alli. The 23-year-old English international, though, still stands at a strong 80 million euro in market value. Alli's Three Lions teammate John Stones lost his job as a regular starter at centre-back with Manchester City this season, and lately, for example, in the Champions League clash at Real Madrid, was completely left out by Pep Guardiola in the squad. Stones might be searching a new club in summer, as for now his market value drops 15 million euros to 45 million. To start our next section, the rumor mill, we will pick up the Kepa situation that we already focused on in our market value update. The 25-year-old Spaniard, due to some major mistakes lately, lost his starting spot between Chelsea's posts to veteran Willy Caballero, who at age 38 can't be the future option for Frank Lampard. This option, according to the Sunday Mirror, could be Sheffield United keeper Dean Henderson. The 22-year-old only conceded 22 goals in 27 Premier League matches for the unexpectedly strong Premier League promoted Blades. The problem for the Blues could be that Henderson is out on loan to Sheffield from Manchester United, with 2 more years remaining in his contract at Old Trafford. With De Gea losing his coolness lately, the Red Devils might want Henderson for themselves. At least they will put a very high price tag to Henderson's name, who right now stands at 18 million euros in market value. Newspaper Express has a different name for Chelsea's number 1 spot. Their sources have Blues club bosses and Frank Lampard eyeing a possible transfer of German international Marc-André Ter Stegen. The 27-year-old is said to be in a dispute with fellow Barca star Lionel Messi, thus not yet having prolonged his contract with Barcelona that runs into 2022. Newspaper Express has a different name for Chelsea's number 1 spots. Their sources have club bosses and Frank Lampard eyeing a possible transfer of German international Marc-André Ter Stegen to Stamford Bridge. The 27-year-old is said to be in a dispute with fellow Barca star Lionel Messi, thus not yet having prolonged his contract with Barcelona that runs into 2022. As the Express has it, Messi even wants Ter Stegen to be sold. The outstanding Barcelona goalkeeper is at the moment the second highest market valued goalkeeper in the world with 90 million euros in market value. We stay with Chelsea. The Blues want to extend their contract with striker jewel Tammy Abraham, who is the Blues Premier League top scorer with 13 goals this season. But talks about a long-term agreement are stalling, as newspaper The Mirror reports. Allegedly, the 22-year-old striker rejected the latest offer by the Blues, since he is expecting an upgrade in wages to at least 11 million euros a year. That is the same amount that fellow Chelsea winger talent Callum Hudson-Odoi signed for in his latest contract extension in September 2019. And we have one more rumor concerning the number 4 team at the moment in the Premier League table. Sunsport understands that Chelsea are in talks to sign German defensive talent Amel Bella Kotschap. The 18-year-old defender has lit up the second Bundesliga since signing his first senior contract with VfL Bochum in March 2019. The German under-18 international has a market value of 2.5 million euros and is bound to Bochum until 2024. What happens with the all-time leading international scorer in the Premier League if the Champions League ban for Manchester City by the UEFA is upheld? Sergio Aguero, the formidable Argentine striker, turns 32 years in June and would be 34 at the start of a first season after a possible ban for the citizens in Europeans Elite League. Probably too long to wait for in his pursuit to once be crowned European club champion. As The Sun on Sunday reports, Manchester, in the worst-case scenario without international competition, will release Aguero in summer to fulfill his dream somewhere else. Aguero's teammate Kevin De Bruyne is Manchester City's second highest paid player behind Raheem Sterling. The 28-year-old Belgian international might even earn more if the negotiations for a contract extension at Etihad Stadium are successful. According to Daily Mail, a commitment to stay with the citizens even without Champions League games would be honoured. Already standing at £280,000 per week, the Belgian in his prime could rise above the £300,000 mark per week, just as Raheem Sterling. The latter is also in talks about a citizen contract extension, but he still remains a strong target for Real Madrid in the summer transfer window. A possible new signing for Man City could be Inter Milano centre-back Milan Skriniar. The 25-year-old could be Pep Guardiola's solution in a struggling defense. As the Express has heard, he could come into Etihad Stadium for the next season. His market value stands at 60 million euros. Talking about Real Madrid, according to Spanish newspaper AS, Italian side SSC Napoli has started talks about signing 22-year-old Luka Jovic from the Royals in summer. As Napoli wants to restructure their attack with Dries Mertens' contract running out and Milik and Cajon being possible candidates to let go, the former Frankfurt star Jovic could become an interesting option. The Serbian international left the Bundesliga side Frankfurt last summer on a 60 million euro transfer fee, but never lived up to the expectations and has only played 770 minutes all season with just 2 goals for the Royals. In the last section of today's show, we take a look at some news or done deals that occurred during the last couple of days. First of all, it is bad news for the Spurs ahead of their second Champions League leg at Leipzig. After already missing elite strikers Heung-min Son and Harry Kane due to injuries, now Jose Mourinho has lost another option in attack. 22-year-old Dutch winter signing Steven Bergwijn suffered a severe ankle injury and might even be out for the rest of the season. Manchester United announced that they extended the contract with England under-21 international Tahith Chong until 2022. The right winger plays for the under-23 Red Devils squad and was linked to different interested clubs in Europe as his contract would have expired in summer. Now the 20-year-old stays at Old Trafford. 52 years older, but also receiving a contract extension because of good results, is Crystal Palace manager Roy Hodgson. The 72-year-old former England manager took over at Selhurst Park in September 2017 and has since convincingly avoided relegation. With their team sitting comfortably in 12th position of the league table, the South Londoners decided to sign Hodgson for another year until June 2021. And that's it for this edition of Transfermarkt TV International from our headquarters in Hamburg, Germany. I hope that you stay healthy with coronavirus spreading across Europe, affecting our regular lives, but also affecting international football with many games suspended in Italy, for example, until April 3rd, or like the Champions League clash between Paris Saint-Germain and Borussia Dortmund, games being played without attendance in empty stadiums. Hopefully things will turn out better next week. Until then, have a good one.